Hey everyone, and welcome back to Celebrity Secrets Podcast, where we take a deep dive into the untold stories behind the headlines. Today's episode is about one of Hollywood's earliest sex tape scandals. Before there was Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian, or social media leaks, there was Rob Lowe. In 1988, Rob Lowe was one of the most charming young stars in Hollywood. But that same year, a single night and a camcorder would put his career and reputation in jeopardy. This is the story of how a sex tape nearly ended his career, and how he turned that downfall into a decades-long comeback. Rob Lowe was born in 1964 and rose to fame as part of the Brat Pack, a group of young, good-looking actors who dominated Hollywood in the 1980s. He starred in classics like The Outsiders, St. Elmo's Fire, and About Last Night, and was seen as the clean-cut, all-American heartthrob. By the late 80s, Lowe wasn't just a teen idol. He was a bona fide movie star. Magazine covers, movie premieres, red carpets. He had it all. He even received a Golden Globe nomination in 1987. But behind the scenes, Lowe was also partying hard, something that would soon catch up to him. It was July 1988. Rob Lowe was in Atlanta for the Democratic National Convention, supporting presidential candidate Michael Dukakis. One night, he met two women at a nightclub. One was 23, the other just 16. He brought them back to his hotel room. What happened next was consensual, but Lowe recorded it on a camcorder. What he didn't know, or claimed not to know, was that one of the women was underage. The tape was leaked. No one knows exactly how, but it ended up circulating through underground networks, passed around on VHS tapes. It eventually even aired in part on a late-night adult cable show in Manhattan. And soon, it was national news. Lowe became the center of a sex scandal involving a minor, something almost unheard of at the time. The fallout was immediate. Lowe's squeaky clean image was shattered. Teen magazines pulled his face off their covers. Advertisers backed away. A women's fashion company ran an ad mocking him with the line, "How low can you go?" He didn't face criminal charges, but the damage was done. A civil lawsuit was filed by the underage girl's mother, accusing him of exploiting her daughter for pornography. The lawsuit was quietly settled out of court. The terms were never made public. From Hollywood's golden boy, Lowe was now seen as a liability. For years after, he struggled to find meaningful work. His roles shifted from leading man to supporting comic characters in movies like Wayne's World and Tommy Boy. Still, he kept working. He didn't disappear, but he wasn't anywhere near the A-list. In the late 80s, this kind of scandal was a media feeding frenzy. TV hosts, tabloids, and gossip columns ran wild. There was no Twitter, no YouTube, but the appetite for scandal was just as strong. Some saw Lowe as a reckless playboy. Others saw him as a victim of privacy invasion. The public was divided, disgusted, intrigued, fascinated. Some insiders even claimed the scandal gave him more fame than ever before, just not the kind he wanted. One interesting twist: a few entertainment producers stood by him. He was even invited to host Saturday Night Live in 1990, a sign that some parts of Hollywood were willing to forgive and move on. Legally, things were complicated. At the time, the age of consent in Georgia was 14. So technically, Lowe hadn't broken any laws by having sex with a 16-year-old, but filming a sexual act with a minor was, and still is, illegal. Prosecutors considered filing criminal charges but decided against it. One reason was that Lowe claimed he didn't know she was underage. Another was the tape itself. There wasn't enough proof that he intended to make a pornographic film for distribution. What complicated matters even more was the leak itself. Lowe's team argued that the tape was stolen and distributed without his consent, a violation of his privacy. Today, we'd call that revenge porn. Back then, there were no real legal protections for that kind of situation. It's important to look at the scandal through the lens of its time. In the 1980s, conversations around consent, privacy, and exploitation weren't as evolved as they are today. The media focused more on the salacious details than the ethical questions. Compare that to today, where a similar scandal would involve serious debates about consent, power dynamics, and criminal liability. The Rob Lowe scandal, in many ways, was a precursor to the public's obsession with celebrity sex tapes in the 2000s and beyond. Also worth noting, Lowe's gender probably played a role. As a male star, he wasn't vilified the way a female celebrity might have been in the same situation. There were jokes, headlines, shame, but no career death sentence. Here's where the story takes a turn. Instead of spiraling further, Rob Lowe made a dramatic change. In 1990, he checked himself into rehab for alcohol and sex addiction. He's been sober ever since. He got married, had children, and began to reshape his public image. In 1999, he landed a major role as Sam Seaborn on The West Wing, a smart, idealistic White House staffer. It earned him critical acclaim and award nominations, and marked the beginning of his second act. Since then, he starred in hit shows like Parks and Recreation and 911 Lone Star. He's also written 2 memoirs and become an advocate for sobriety and personal growth. So what can we learn from all of this? First, scandals don't have to define a person forever, but accountability matters. Lowe didn't hide from what happened. He faced the legal consequences, sought help, and made real life changes. Second, the way we treat celebrity scandals has evolved. Today, there's more awareness of exploitation, mental health, and privacy, though the hunger for gossip is still very real. Finally, the Rob Lowe case reminds us that fame is fragile. One mistake, one lapse in judgment, and it can all fall apart. But it also shows that with time, reflection, and resilience, redemption is possible. Thanks for listening to Celebrity Secrets Podcast. If you found today's story compelling, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Next time, we'll uncover another hidden chapter from Hollywood history. Until then, stay curious and stay kind.
Các bạn vừa theo dõi sản phẩm của chúng tôi. Xin chân thành gặp lại.